Yes.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me now? All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I think Professor Sewell, I see she's online. Is that Professor Sewell, right? Okay, we are gathered here for a very important event. We are launching our Carbon Capture Technology Development Fund. And this fund, basically the idea behind launching this fund was that we talk a lot about technologies to reduce emissions, but we don't really talk enough about technologies that can, on the flip side, can work on the flip side and take away the carbon also. So this is very important. Carbon capture is important. I was talking earlier in the morning also that uh, Earth was formed about 4.5 billion years ago, and it was a really hot planet at that time. And as it cooled down about 4 billion years ago, the atmosphere was mostly carbon dioxide, nitrogen, hydrogen, and some other minor gases. There was no oxygen in the environment at all. And then we had the first algal bloom and in the oceans, and that started making oxygen and releasing into the environment. So oxygen was not really native to the initial start of the planet. It was mostly carbon dioxide. But when the algal bloom happened, it started sequestering carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen into the environment. And that is a natural phenomena. Can you hear me? I can't hear myself. So that was a natural phenomena, but as time passed with the first industrial revolution, second industrial, and the third industrial revolution, we started generating more and more carbon dioxide and pumping it into the air, with the resultant increase in temperature and climate change and all these phenomena coming into play. And this really has resulted a lot of damage to this planet. So we need to, first of all, certainly use renewable energies and others to reduce emissions. And on the flip side, we also need to develop technologies so that we can take away carbon dioxide from the atmosphere also. So that was the reason we launched this Carbon Capture Technology Development Fund to allow researchers to have access, especially from the third world countries. In the developing world, there are a lot of resources are available, but in the third world country, resources are not available. So we are launching this fund to enable researchers to be able to take advantage of developing low-cost technologies in their area. And I'm pleased to have Professor Ulvia here with us. She is our ICESCO chair on biomedical material at Baku State University. And then we have Professor Dr. Sewell Yusuf from Yildiz Technical University and Department of Bioengineering in Turkey. And we have Professor Dr. Farah Sayem, the Senior Lecturer, Department of Biology, Egg University. And we have Anil Erdogan, Senior Research Specialist, Vestel Home Appliances. And we have Dr. Alakbar Hossein Zada from the Biomedical Material Chair at Baku State University. And we have Dr. Argan Israelova from the ICESCO Biomedical Chair again at Baku State University. So what we will do is we will ask questions back and forth to the panelists to understand, what Carbon Capture Technology Development Fund is, what the technology is. But before we do the question answer, I'll like to ask Professor Ulvia to explain to us, the technology that she's been working with Professor Sewell and our group on carbon capture technology using, I guess, nanotechnology and nanoparticles. So we would love to hear from you first before we move on to the question answer session. Thank you. Please.
Thank you very much for inviting to present on such a big event. It's a big honor for me, and also I just want to say that we are proud to be part of this big project presented by ICESCO, the Carbon Capture Technology Development Fund. So, being part of this project, we suggested to the new technology for producing of the filters based on the graphene oxide, functionalized with aminos, and the application of these new materials to produce the new filters that will be able to absorb the carbon dioxide, and also it can be used for minus emission technologies as well as for the zero carbon capturing emission technologies. So we involved in this project also the specialists from the academical areas, from Yıldız Teknik University, Professor Sevil Yücel, from the Ege University, Professor Farah Sayin, and we also involved in this project the representatives from industry sector, from the Vestel company, and because actually just combining our efforts, it's possible to develop the new technology for effective removal of the carbon dioxide from the air.
Thank you very much, Professor Olvia. So what we will do is we have a slight issue with whose mic to turn on and all that. So I'll ask a couple of questions to each one of you, and we won't probably go in sequence, but that's all right. So first question with Professor Sivel. Professor Sivel, thank you very much, first of all, for joining with us. I wanted to ask you that what recent technological advancements have shown the most promise for cost-effective carbon capture?
Thank you very much for inviting me to this meeting. Several carbon capture, utilization, and storage technologies have been developed during the last decade. Chemical absorption and absorption, cryogenic separation, and the membrane separations are most widely used in post-combustion and the pre-combustion carbon dioxide capture technologies. The most promising recent advancement for cost-effective carbon capture combine improved material, for example, solid sorbents, membranes, and new processes, electrochemical direct air capture, and integration with carbon utilization. Membrane technologies for carbon capture are showing a great promise in reducing costs. Membrane can selectively separate carbon dioxide from the gases at lower temperatures and pressures, making them more energy efficient and cost effective compared to the or exist of the membrane, and depending on the permeability and selectivity properties of the membrane. Companies are developing both polymer and ceramic-based membranes with improved permeability, selectivity, and resistance to fouling. And membranes can also be used directly in carbon capture units using with some inorganic materials. For example, as Ulviye Hasanova mentioned that in the study we performed, the graphene oxide was studies to remove carbon. Actually, the carbon capture property of aminated materials are known. But using the aminated graphene oxide worked in the Ulviye studies effectively. The use of the aminated graphene oxide material in the membrane project to be designed will increase its effectiveness for carbon capture. This is the negative emission technology. And in my lab, we are producing the some membrane and with electrospinning and the common methods for preparing the nanofibers includes electrospinnings and the other methods. Oh, I can continue, but I think
That's okay. Thank you very much.
that's okay.
One of the biggest challenges that I see in carbon capture in future, this fund that we are launching is basically for industry, especially for cement industry. We are focusing on that to reduce carbon emission from that. But I see that there would be a need for direct air capture also. And one of the things that I was saying that is being talked about and worked on is using algae in building materials, where the algae will absorb directly carbon dioxide from the air and convert it into the building material and all that. But in your experience, what do you see as emerging technologies that could be game changers in carbon capture, especially looking at it from the direct air capture or enhanced weathering effect? Thank you.
Yes, several emerging have the potential to be game changers in carbon capture and may play a crucial role in addressing climate change at a global scale. Among these, direct air capture and enhanced weathering are two of the one most talked about innovation. Direct air capture technologies, as you know, extract carbon dioxide directly from the atmosphere at any location, unlike carbon captures, which is generally carried out at a point of the emissions, such as steel plant or concrete plant. As direct air capture technology scales up, it holds promise for capturing gigaemissions of the carbon dioxide annually, which is the crucial for meeting global climate change. If the cost per ton carbon dioxide can fall below the $100, and direct air capture could become a central tool for mitigating climate change. And in this technique, as you know, there are many chemical materials and membranes can be used here. The main barrier to scaling direct air capture include high energy consumption, land use, and cost. However, ongoing advancement, as I said, in engineering and material science could reduce this cost over time. Another one is enhanced weathering. Enhanced weathering is a carbon capture technology, and that accelerates natural weathering processes. For example, chemical and physical breakdown of the rocks to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The silicate rock weathering reacts with carbon dioxide, converting it into the bicarbonate ions and leading to the carbon sequestrations. Enhanced rock weathering can be developed on croplands, offering the dual benefits of carbon dioxide and removal and potential improvement of the soil fertility. And the technology increases ocean and river alkalinity by depositing rock particles into the rivers and the oceans, contributing to capture efforts. By extracting carbon from the air and storing it in the rocks, enhanced weathering is considered a strategy to address climate change. In these technologies, we need some, cheap chemicals and the cheap membranes and the enhanced inorganic materials and many batteries for absorbing the carbon emissions. Actually.
Thank you very much, Professor Civil. Do we have Dr. Eigen online? Dr. Eigen.
Yes, I am here.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Eigen. Dr. Eigen, can you, one of our biggest concern right now is with renewable energy, that their environmental impact and their environmental footprint is very big. And we are wondering that if you can elaborate on how these different carbon capture technology methods compare in terms of their overall environmental footprints. Are we, creating a monster which would contribute more to the environmental degradation as opposed to the other technologies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Firstly, thank you very much that you invite me to join this session. It's very nice to share me and get some my knowledge and also get some knowledge from this session. Related to carbon dioxide capture, I think I can say that there are a lot of methods. If you look at the science, if you look at the literature, we can see that regarding to environmental or regarding to economical way or technical consideration, there are different environmental footprints. But the key factors of this influencing of the footprint is energy use, material requirements, land use, and potential for the leakage and long term of the storage of the carbon dioxide. If you look at the different type of the methods, we can say there is post-consumption, pre-consumption, for example, direct air capture of the carbon dioxide, oxy-fuel methods, for example, absorption of the carbon dioxide. But related to post-consumption capture, it means that in these methods, we normally obtain the carbon dioxide from fossil fuel, from the fuels, and but in this case we need required special solvents like amines or some different type of the absorbents is using in these methods. Another interesting thing is that when you use these methods, we need too much high energy. Yes, the positive side of these methods is really good because you get more energy and carbon dioxide. That you get more carbon dioxide, but the drawback is this, that material requirements is not enough, so there is no enough sorbents, and if there is enough, that if there is something, they are very expensive. So that's why this type of the methods we cannot use alternative carbon dioxide capture methods. If you look at pre-consumption, it means that that some after methods, a very interesting method is that we can obtain carbon dioxide from the fossil fuels, and it is better that before the material is going to fossil to absorb, to capture the carbon dioxide from these stuffs. But the issue again, we need too much liquid solvents in this case. Yes, positive side of this method is really good because in this case we obtain more concentrated carbon dioxide, but the energy is also good because we compare with post-consumption, we don't need too much high energy. Moderate energy is enough for this case. But additional problems in these methods is again to find right sorbent, and if you can find right sorbent and liquid solvents, so your carbon dioxide, concentrated carbon dioxide will be high. But mostly right now, we try to use direct from the air carbon dioxide, because if you get it from the air, it is better because you can use a wide range of the land, and it is better because it's directly will take from the air. And in this case, all the environment will be able to capture from carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and we can storage this carbon dioxide for a long time. That's why if you look at overall the conclusion of these methods, the main issue in this case, all the methods have the issue with the solvents. If you find right solvent and right absorbent, so you get more concentrated carbon dioxide. And in this case, scientists actually prefer to use direct carbon dioxide capture from the atmosphere, which is more efficient and more useful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Professor Farah, are you online? Professor Farah? Is Professor Farah online?
Farah Saim, actually, she's attendance. She needs to move to panelist session, that's why.
Oh, okay. What about Dr. Anil?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, Dr. Anil, nice to see you. I wanted to ask you, how realistic is it to rely on carbon capture technology to meet global climate change as per the Paris Agreement targets? I understand the technology is expensive right now, but as we have seen in the case of photovoltaics, ultimately with the larger scale manufacturing and all that, the technology become real cheap, and it was could be used at the homes and all that also. So for this carbon capture technology, is it realistic, and is it really, can we rely upon it to meet the Paris Agreement targets?
Thank you for your question. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to present our study. From business perspectives, in air purification systems, small-scale carbon capture solutions like advanced filters contribute to cleaner indoor environments, but are not designed to address large-scale atmospheric carbon capture. For global climate goals, like the Paris Agreement, industrial scale carbon capture technologies would need significant advances in efficiency and affordability to make a substantial impact. However, innovative filters in air purifiers can support these goals indirectly by promoting energy efficiency and reducing indoor pollutants. While carbon capture alone may not achieve global targets, complementary solutions such as energy efficient technologies and renewable energy integration are essential for a realistic path to reducing carbon emissions comprehensively.
Okay, thank you very much. Once this technology really becomes cheap enough to be implemented at large scale, we will have a lot of captured carbon. So are there any industrial processes that we can use this captured carbon, or are we going to go to long-term storage of this? And what are the most promising avenues for this carbon utilization, in your opinion?
Actually, large-scale carbon storage as well as capture is important. Also, energy efficient to be used energy efficient systems and green technologies is used.
Okay, thank you. Do we have Dr. Alakbar online?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you. Nice to see you. Okay, in your opinion, do you think carbon capture alone can curb global warming? Because we realize that global warming is due to excessive carbon dioxide in the air. But do you think it alone can handle or reverse global warming, or should it be seen as a complementary solution to renewable energy expansion?
Thank you very much for your question. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me to this session. It's very good opportunity to get something new from this session. Okay, in my opinion, carbon capture is generally seen as a promising complementary solution rather than a standalone fix for global warming. Carbon capture has the potential to remove carbon dioxide directly from sources or even the atmosphere, potentially offsetting emissions in sectors that are hard to decarbonize, such as heavy industry and aviation. But we know that industries work, and every day new amount of carbon dioxide is formed. So that's why carbon capture is a promising complementary solution. And reasons why carbon capture is not sufficient, it's not it's not alone significantly can curb global warming, is that first one is scale and cost, because implementing carbon capture at a large enough scale to meaningfully reduce atmospheric carbon dioxide is challenging and costly. It requires substantial infrastructure for capturing, transporting, and storing carbon safely, which is currently feasible only in certain geographic locations. Second one is energy demand. Carbon capture technology requires energy to capture and store carbon, which can reduce the overall efficiency of power plants and industrial processes. Third one is emission reduction versus carbon removal. Carbon capture can help reduce emissions from fossil fuels, but doesn't fundamentally transition energy systems away from them. It's most effective when paired with efforts to shift renewable energy sources that produce little or no carbon emissions, such as wind, solar, or nuclear power, for example. And the last one, in my opinion, they should be done various investigations in order to improve carbon capture technologies that will also reduce cost of such type technologies, and it will also allow to use this type of technologies worldwide.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the cost element is very important, especially if we leave this technological development up to the West, we'll be charged an arm and a leg in the developing countries. So that is one of the reasons that we designed this fund, so that we can develop the technologies in the developing countries and also share it across. Do you think that's, that's an aim which will be able to achieve the sharing among developing nations, and will it accelerate the deployment of these technologies also?
Okay, thank you for your question. Okay, knowledge sharing among developing nations is crucial for accelerating the deployment of carbon capture and storage technologies. Collaborative knowledge exchange can help address several key barriers to the widespread adoption in carbon capture developing countries.
Right.
Among these key barriers, I can mention, for example, the following. First one, as I mentioned in previous questions, reducing cost and technical barriers. Developing nations often face significant financial and technical limitations and can slow down carbon capture adoption. And knowledge sharing initiatives such as technology transfer programs, training, and joint projects allow nations to access expertise and solutions without having to invest heavily in early stage research. This can lower entry costs and make carbon capture more accessible and feasible. Second one is building infrastructure and skills. Carbon capture requires specialized infrastructure, including facilities for carbon capture, transportation, and storage, as well as skilled personnel to operate and maintain these systems. So, knowledge sharing, countries can learn from each other's success and failure, helping to standardize training, operational best practice, and infrastructure development. Third one is policy and regulatory development. Effective carbon capture deployment depends on strong regulatory frameworks for monitoring safety and emissions accounting. Countries that have already developed these regulations can serve as models for others, streamlining the learning process and supporting the development of consistent global standards. The last one is encouraging private investment and public-private partnership. Knowledge sharing can help government in developing countries understand the economic and environmental benefits of carbon capture and design incentives to attract private investment. Collaborative projects can also foster public-private partnership, which are often key for funding large-scale carbon capture infrastructure. For example, as an example of collaborative project, we can mention our collaborative project with Yıldız Technical University, which is dedicated to the preparation of materials that will allow to capture carbon and transform it into useful material. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. I've been told by my IT people that Professor Farah has joined on this meeting. Professor Farah, are you there? Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Farah, for joining. Professor, I mentioned this earlier also.
I'm sorry for the technical problem.
No problem. I mentioned this earlier also before you were able to join. That the atmosphere of the planet 4.5 billion years ago was mostly carbon dioxide. There was absolutely no oxygen, and there was nitrogen and hydrogen and some sulfur compounds in the air. But as unicellular organisms develop, what they did was they started releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. And that allowed that as the oxygen level increased, that allowed multicellular organisms to develop. Without this oxygen, multicellular organisms would not be present on this planet. We all, of course, are multicellular organisms also. So there was a huge role that these algae and all these things played, and also when forests developed and all that. So huge role in sequestering carbon dioxide, and releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. So do you see that biological and natural methods of carbon capture, like afforestation or algae, can effectively complement industrial carbon capture technologies? Because industrial carbon technology, I think, is going to be expensive for a while. So should we, focus also on these biologicals, and how can we really do that to ensure that we make full use of them?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this important and very interesting session. It's very nice to see all of you. Yes, biological carbon capture methods increase carbon storage in landscapes and wetlands across the globe in an environmentally friendly and economically beneficial manner, as you mentioned. Plants and microorganisms act as a natural carbon dioxide filter. 6 different photosynthetic pathways and some non-photosynthetic pathways to fix atmospheric carbon dioxide have been reported in different species of plants and microorganisms, such as bacteria, fungi, yeast, and algae. Algae are the most potent organisms in biological carbon fixation. They are used on a large industrial scale for biofuel production. Algal biofuel production is the best productive method to recycle and reduce atmospheric carbon dioxide. Additionally, wastewater treatment by using microalgae has become an effective technique because these methods presents an eco-friendly approach to handle both pollution and carbon removal. Moreover, biological methods can be complementing industrial carbon capture, especially in rural or undeveloped areas. For example, afforestation and regenerative agriculture can be implemented with minimal infrastructure. Integrating both approaches can make carbon capture efforts more economically feasible. Natural methods also contribute additional ecological benefits, such as biodiversity enhancement, soil fertility improvement, and water retention. As a result, combining biological methods with industrial technologies can provide a more holistic and resilient approach to carbon management, addressing various emission sources and offering sustainable solutions.
Thank you very much, Professor. Yes, you're right. But when we talk about, the infrastructure for such things, it cannot be at an individual level. It has to be at the government level and whatever. For an individual like me, if I wanted to contribute to it, what would you suggest? Besides planting trees, I've planted a lot of trees in my life.
Yes.
But what other methods which would not be economically very heavy on my pocket would you suggest that we use as individuals to take care of this problem?
we can we can reduce our
Footprint.
carbon footprints.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, all
Obviously.
of us can reduce our carbon ecological
Yeah.
footprint.
I think that's a very important from the side of consumption. It's an
Yes,
important aspect. But I would really love to see something that we can do positively also in carbon capture. So, Professor Ulvia, we talked about this a little bit. That why is ICESCO interested in this carbon capture? So, can you talk about what strategies international organizations like ICESCO and UNESCO and all these others they can adopt to foster global collaboration in carbon capture technology development fund?
Unfortunately, we have reached the red line where the questions how the climate change impact on our planet is no longer relevant. Now is most and vitally important question is how we can impact on climate change. Global collaboration truly at the center of the shaping of the climate agenda. When partnerships take place at a global level, the progress is inevitable. For real change to take root and nurture, it is not only necessary to work together. It's important to do everything and to collaborate at global scale. And I strongly believe that if all stakeholders, like international organizations, governments, universities, professors, students, the representatives from industry and civil society will be engaged in this process, the public mindset, behavior, and lifestyles can also change. Partnership between governments, universities, industry, and civil society is essential to ensure the collaboration and research for climate actions. And the key role here, of course, belongs to the international organizations such as United Nations, ICESCO, UNESCO, CERN, and national and international science funding agencies. So it is necessary, on my opinion, it is necessary to develop the effective mechanism for accelerating the scientific projects and researchers, for developing the green technologies, and what is most important, for the involvement of the young generation with their fresh and revolutionary method of thinking to combat with climate challenges. Carbon capture stands on the forefront on approaches and on the forefront of efforts to combat with climate changes. And I think that it's important to accelerate the collaboration for achieving the net zero emissions, especially in terms of the carbon dioxide emissions. For my experiments, I just wanted to share that we participate in the ICESCO Biomedical Materials Chair project, and that focuses on the collaboration and knowledge changes with the ICESCO member states and the neighboring countries. The aim of this project is the strengthening and the development of the links between the industry and academical community for the facilitating of the transfer of the new technologies, or for example, our chair research directions related to the development and synthesis and studying of the new novel materials in field of biomedical and environmental fields. So this help us to facilitate to transfer the novel materials for these environmental applications. And that's why I just want to say that I'm happy to be part of the carbon capture technology development fund project of ICESCO, and because it's good evidence how the international organization can facilitate for the international collaboration, for the development of new technologies, and for the our project, carbon capture project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Ulvia. Professor Ulvia, we were having a sort of discussion or chat earlier on WhatsApp also, and you mentioned that, and I think that's the truth also, that the West and the developed countries have contributed more to this problem of high carbon dioxide and climate change and all that, as opposed to the developing country. But when we see the benefits, the West is probably going to take more benefit than the underdeveloped countries and the developing country. Even in carbon credit, we've seen, and also taking advantage of funding on climate change, we've seen that the developing countries are really left behind. They have absolutely no clue what they are and how to leverage them. And we ran during COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, we ran a side event where we taught people on how to leverage these funds for their benefit and for the benefit of their country. So in that context, do you think this carbon capture technologies will be equitably distributed among these nations, especially in low-income region? Do you think ultimately when the technology is developed, will these nations be able to really take advantage of that also, or will we still have the developing world, the developed world, taking advantage and doing localized carbon dioxide, decreasing carbon dioxide, and that really not making a big difference in the developing countries? So do you see that this will be more equitable distribution? I understand, climate is a global phenomena and any local change would be reflected globally also. But when we talk about the technological, innovation, do you think these nations will not be left behind like in other initiatives?
Actually, it's a very big questions, and we, as you mentioned, we told a little about that, and you awake me to go deep on this aspect. And of course, it's no secret that the developed countries made greater contribution in environmental pollution, which of course affect global climate change. Since the environmental pollution, whether it is in the air, in atmosphere, or in related to the hydrosphere, aquatic systems, including rivers, oceans, seas, or the soil, we see that it has no border. And the low-income regions equally or even more suffer from these circumstances. That's why this imposes a greater responsibility, of course, on these countries with high income. And here it's necessary to develop strategies to ensure the benefits of carbon capture technologies are equitably distributed, especially in low-income regions. So, in low-income regions, multifaceted approach is necessary that addresses the unique challenges and opportunities in these addresses. Several strategies can be applied in this term. For example, the incentivize and support carbon capture technology developments in low-income regions. For that, of course, it's very important to encourage collaboration between governments, private sectors, and international organizations to fund and build carbon capture technology facilities in low-income regions. Another strategy is providing the financial assistance and subsidies. International financial institutions and governments can offer loans or grants to support infrastructure and technical knowledge required for carbon capture technology implementation. For this, it's very important, for example, to carry out the training initiatives, because the public awareness, the gathering some knowledge, specific knowledge related to this big problem is very important. That's why the established training initiatives to develop local expertise and experts in carbon capturing technology operations and maintenance that will lead to more sustainable and long-term employment of the local people in these regions. Another very important moment is involve local communities in decision-making processes and ensure they understand the potential benefits and risk associated with carbon capturing technology activities and facilities. Another very important aspect is low-income regions with carbon capture technological projects to participate in global carbon credit markets. This could provide an additional revenue stream that incentivize more equitable carbon capture technologies in these regions. And on previous session, a lot of speech have been devoted to the financing of small projects. And that's why another aspect is a focus on affordable and scalable carbon capture technologies. Invest in research that seeks to lower the cost of carbon capture technologies, making them more feasible for deployment in regions with limited financial resources. And by focusing on these strategies, carbon capture technology can contribute to environmental goals while also delivering socioeconomic benefits in low-income regions, fostering a more inclusive approach to global carbon reduction. So I really believe that such kind of collaboration, global collaboration, that takes on a global scale, that can touch every institutions, every organization. I mean government, I mean university, I mean industry, I mean the public section. So if all will be involved in a deep understanding of this problem, I think, yes, it is possible. But of course, it is not easy. It's a long way. And but what is most important, it's possible and it's feasible.
Thank you very much. I was having a conversation a couple of days back with one of my friends, and he mentioned that, using nanomaterials like sulfides and others and dispersing it in the stratosphere can really have cooling, localized cooling, where the radiation energy will be reflected back into space rather than reaching Earth and all that. And my question to him also was that, how are the developing or the underdeveloped countries going to benefit from it? Because, in the stratosphere, there's going to be movement of these particles and ultimately they will disperse. And, then the question that we've often hear from our member countries is, if it is not going to have a localized effect completely and benefit the whole world, why should we really do this? And the developed world should be doing stuff like that. So I think it's important to keep that in context also when especially developing technologies. Okay, so my last question to Professor Farah and Professor Civil and to you also is, how can public-private partnership structure like that of the Carbon Capture Technology Development Fund that we are proposing help bridge financial gaps in technology adoption? We heard earlier also from the Islamic Development Bank and a couple of others you were listening that how difficult it is to do microfinancing and all that. And I was suggesting to the gentleman that maybe for photovoltaics, what we can do is involve the government and use net metering system to regain the funds for the bank, because that is of prime importance. So can we have such solutions, and can we help bridge these financial gaps in technology adoption? So Professor Sewell, first you, then Professor Farah, and then we'll close with Professor Ulvia.
Thank you very much again. In this cooperation, actually, as an academic part, from the academic part, we offer our resources and devices to provide partnership. We also provide information on the subjects. There are many devices in our laboratories. So there is no need to buy this equipment for the companies or private sector again. This means that some costs can be eliminated while the project is being carried out. As a result, distribution and commercializations can be achieved with a lower budget and in a short time, maybe. For example, in the project, we plan to prepare with Vestel, and we have collaboration with 3 universities, Bakü State and Yıldız Teknik, and from this is my university, and Ege University. Vestel is one of the most important companies in Turkey. Air filtration and air conditioner experiences are very important for us. We also have some contributions to make to Vestel. For example, the production of new chemical materials with high carbon removal capacity and the other properties. The preparation membranes containing the new chemicals and the determination of their properties. This will help accelerate the commercializations of this kind of the products, I can say.
Thank you, Professor Sewell. Professor Farah, the same question to you.
Yes, thank you. I would like to make a few additions from the technology transfer and capacity building point of view. Public-private partnerships facilitate the transfer of cutting-edge technology and expertise from universities and public research institutes to private companies, accelerating innovation in carbon reduction technologies. Governments and universities should invest R&D or R&D&I projects. I would like to inform that TÜBİTAK, the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, and most of the universities in Turkey, including my university, Ege University, have science, technology, and innovation policy studies and calls of such kinds of national and also international projects. And we all together with the industrial partner Vestel and the public partner with Bakü State University, Ege University, Yıldız Teknik University, and with the private partner, industrial partner with Vestel, we applied R&D&I projects to TÜBİTAK for carbon capturing technology by using nanomaterials. As a biologist in Ege University, biology department, we will perform some ecotoxicological tests about these materials using in this technology. So it is important actually for the ecosystems to be healthy. Healthy ecosystems can capture more carbon dioxide. Yes.
All right. So we started with Professor Ulvia and we'll end with her. A quick answer to this so that we close the session then. Thank you.
So I see that the key solution here is, of course, the strengthening of international cooperation and funding mechanism. Encourage international bodies such as United Nations or World Bank or another organization like this to create funds, especially for low-income regions investing in carbon capture technology, because the high-income countries can develop their technology and there is no problem with the financing. Advanced economics can share technology and best practices to reduce development and maintenance costs in low-income regions, helping them to build the carbon capture technology.
Thank you very much, Professor Ulvia. And we'll end here. Thank you, Professor Sewell, Professor Farah, Dr. Anil, Dr. Alakbar, and Dr. Aigan, and Professor Ulvia. Thank you for your thoughtful interventions in this very important technology that we hope to develop in future with low cost and with implementation across all regions. Thank you all for being with us today, and we hope to see you again soon, inshallah. All right. Okay, so we have on screen we have everybody's everybody on that. So I think our IT people have taken a picture of it, and we'll be able to share that. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, bye-bye.